Thank God it's Friday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Moriah Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Nima. How are you doing today?
Fine. I goofed yesterday. So my banter I wanted to remember was my niece, named after me. It was her birthday yesterday, and imagine that. So Nima, I know you're watching. I'm sure your parents will get the video for you. I love you. I wish you a happy birthday, and may you continue to be the coolness of our eyes. She's one of the calmest 11-year-olds I know.
Is it opposite of you?
Adds on. She's the opposite of me as a child.
We believe.
Because me, I was everywhere, playful child. But Nima can be in the house. When my mom was sick, she's a child, but you won't know. You think an adult is with my mom. She'll be there. Grandma, do you need your exercises, your drugs? She's just a caring blessing to the family. So may Allah bless you, Nima. I hope you're watching. And I'm really sorry for yesterday.
I'm doing fine. So yesterday I was reached out to by an international organization. They want to talk about women in conservation, and they're looking for representatives from Africa. Yes, I know. So sometime in May, there's going to be an online conversation. And,
we can't wait for you to start traveling.
Always got conversation.
UNICEF forever.
Trust me, we'll be so
I'll do your PA.
We'll escort you to the plane.
The videos we are following.
Nice, fantastic. Well done. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. I
really enjoying this hair.
I don't want to comb it out for a bit.
it suits you.
Thank you. I'll try. It's a lot of work, but I'll try. And I'm not trying because of Waike and Nima. No. I don't remove food from my mouth. I'm a businesswoman. I sell hairs, and I will keep selling hairs. I have wigs. I'll still wear wigs. But from time to time, I love my natural hair. I'll flaunt it. But my father's birthday is tomorrow.
Oh, happy birthday, sir.
Birthday,
Big
daddy.
number?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's going to be, I think, 72 now. Yes, I think so. Yeah. And I just want to wish him a happy birthday. Thank you for being the daddy that you are. God bless you and keep you. And this weekend, I think I'll just do a product photo shoot. You're wearing one of our very first designs, House of BC. Where did you get this one from? I thought you thrown it away.
Of course not. I still have them. I have clothes in the house. I'm just tired. I need to really
wear them.
Check.
Yeah, I usually give out in December, and I've given out a whole lot. But now I'm just
our very first collection. I don't have that anymore.
Yeah, you should make more of this.
Because I know I have fabric and outfit.
Yeah, good.
How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Yeah, picking up my books today.
Yes.
So excited.
Becoming.
It's not becoming, no. It's just one of the titles.
Yeah.
Becoming the queen or something. But yeah,
becoming.
I'll bring it so you can see
TV, something
the
daytime.
talk show
on Monday.
I'll bring it on Monday, so you guys can see it. We'll do a proper book launch.
Okay.
Somewhere towards the end of March. And I'm trying to make it very small, exclusive. I don't want to get going just very few people.
With all your Lagos family members.
I don't understand how you want to do it.
Because we want to saving our Bugwero for the main party.
It's not like that you now have a book launch and some people not say. That's
Your
how
family
she did.
members
You
will
put
be
a book
ashamed
and she didn't call me. So make sure you better be careful.
Then we're going to break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with the nation. President-elect's mandate is pan-Nigerian, says Adamu. Obi can't be president, says Atiku. Ohaneze PFM backs Sanwo-Olu. Power supply, NNPCL ministry to collaborate. Police sergeant kills mistress, self-inquirer. Non-indigens for Abiodun. Supreme Court's judgment today in Naira redesign suit. Okay, which story are we starting with?
I have the major headline. So the national chairman of All Progressives Congress, APC, yesterday described the outcome of the last Saturday's presidential election as a triumph of democracy. He says Tinubu's victory demonstrates that he was the preferred choice of millions of Nigerians. He said that he commanded nationwide support as reflected in the voting pattern. He said Jagaban is the informed choice of the electorate. He won fair and square, and he offers his hearty congratulations to him. And then he further describes the pattern of voting. He says Tinubu came first in the Northwest, North Central, and Southwest, which is his base. He came second in Northeast, Southeast, and South-South. His opponent, Atiku Abubakar of PDP, came first only in one zone, northeast, which is his base, and second in the northwest and southwest. And Labour Party Peter Obi came first in two zones, southeast his base, south-south, and then second in north-central. And of course, Kwankwaso came third in the northwest. So he just says that for him, he sees that this is someone that has a wide reach across Nigeria. And then we also have the United States and the United Kingdom congratulated the president-elect on his victory and also called for a peaceful resolution of post-election issues, and also urges parties to refrain from violence and seek legal redress if dissatisfied.
Okay, so I wanted to take the president inaugurating the Maiduguri Emergency Power Project, and this power gas plant that was built by the NNPC and is supposed to supply 50 megawatts of power or electricity to Maiduguri and environment cities around Maiduguri. At that launch, or what will I say, opening or cutting of the ribbon or whatever happened there yesterday, President asked that the Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading PLC, the Transmission Company of Nigeria, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, and other power and discos and other power generation companies collaborate with the NNPC going forward. That, you know, what the NNPC was able to achieve is phenomenal, and that, you know, they can also continue this kind of collaboration where power generation plants are built using funds provided by NNPC across the country. He also counted this as part of his the success of his administration while in office, and encouraged that this is done. I commend them, and I also hope that, you know, the discourse will be looking into how to raise funds to reinvest in infrastructure for their distribution.
So the PDP candidate Atiku Abubakar yesterday was saying that he was going to also contest the results of the elections in court. He was also saying that Peter Obi could never be president because he did not have enough votes to have the reach to become president. According to him, Peter Obi got 6.1 million votes, 1.9 of which came from the southeast, and he didn't have enough national spread to have the results. That if he were just patient enough not to leave PDP, maybe perhaps he could have been his running mate, and then they would have, that actually Peter Obi took most of his votes across the southeast and south side areas, that said the elections are therefore flawed because of the irregularities, and has going to take the case to court, and they're hoping to get justice in courts. Okay,
so a teenager, Emmanuel David, was on Tuesday night killed after fire broke out in one of the apartments inside the police barracks at Falomo, Ikoyi. They said the deceased is the son of the Assistant Superintendent of Police, God's Power David, attached to the Bar Beach Division of the Lagos Police Command, and was discovered by rescuers at their room 24, Block 1 residence. At the time of this report, they said the cause of the fire outbreak was yet to be ascertained. And according to the story, they said he was asleep when this fire broke out. So they said the fire broke out about 9 p.m. and then they rushed to call firefighters. And by the time they got there, while they were evacuating people, they just found that the boy had already been burnt and is dead. So he's been taken to the morgue for an autopsy to ascertain what exactly happened.
Okay, moving on to the Punch. Atiku Obi refused to concede defeat, begin legal battle. Autopsy confirms Chrisland people electrocuted, says Lagos mother. Fayose dumps PDP, says IU misleading Atiku. Yakasai differs as Ezefe falls Tinubu's emergence. And bank customers borrow 947 billion naira amid cash crunch. Okay, which story are we starting with?
So the deposit money banks, which is our regular banks, said they offered 130,854 new credits valued at 947.46 billion to their customers in December 2022, according to a document by the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria. They said that the industry asset rose by 14.36 trillion, while industry credit rose by 5.14 trillion in 2022. And there's a lot of data here on how it's been rising gradually. They said there was an increase in the maximum lending rate from 28.14% to 29.13%, that even in the midst of this cash crunch and the CBN's new policy for Naira redesign, the money banks were still, you know, giving credit loans to a lot of customers.
Okay.
I wanted to quickly take the Whitney's story. So the Chrisland people that, you know, was reported to have died at an internal spot, the autopsy has come out. According to the parents in this Punch report, they were told by the Deputy Commissioner of Police in Kwanti that she died by being hit with 600 volts of electricity, and that that led to her death. But the police public relations officer Benjamin Day denied. He said that they have not authenticated that report yet, because the report for the autopsy had not come out. And then again, the spokesperson for the Director of Public Affairs, Ministry of Justice in Lagos, Alo Grace, says that the postmortem report is correct and that she died of asphyxia and electrocution.
So it's possible that at the time where the Odenyi got the message, he hadn't gotten the official report. But now it's confirmed that that is the
He should have said,
result.
I don't have it yet. Not that it's not out yet. And it was reported as he said it.
It's not outside the same thing. But it's the same thing.
I don't have it.
They're being careful. They don't want to say something
If you have not checked, you don't have it. But if you have checked and it's not out, you can say it's not out yet. You have said it for a fact because you're sure.
Okay. All right. Either way, it can be interpreted anyway. But let me take this major headline. So, still in politics, Peter Obi, the candidate of the LP, is also going to court. He has confirmed that he will be, reassured his followers that they will seek legal and peaceful options to reclaim their mandate. However, the PCC Campaign Council, Bayo Onanuga, was saying yesterday that they are happy that going to court is part of the electoral process. They said that is the decent and statesmanlike and civilized course of action to take. We salute his decision. It is definitely better than calling supporters to the streets and instigate social unrest. So we're happy that on both sides, that everybody has accepted that it's okay to go to court, and that's where they're heading.
Okay, I have Fayose Dom's PDP. So former Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose announced his resignation from PDP on Wednesday, and he announced it while appearing on a TV program. He rejected the proposition. He said that one of the reasons that they failed at the polls is that the presidential candidate Abubakar rejected proposition by the G5 governors that he should only serve one term in office, and that he felt that also the AU had not helped in, caused them losing the election. He said, he used some words here. He said he believes that AU led Atiku to the gutters. They took him to the gutters. You see a man cannot come out at 80, what does he want to do after that? And he also reacted to a video that showed some CSOs who protested against the outcome of the election in Abuja, and he claims, that's Fayose claims, that some of these people that are calling themselves civil society are actually members of the PDP. He even pointed out to some of them, called their names, and said one has run for office under the PDP before. One is a relative to a PDP member. So they're just making it look like it's a protest, but it's not. It's actually party affiliated.
Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still moving on with the paper review. Daily Sun. President election, I won. We'll prove it in court, says Obi. I won presidential elections. Prove it in court, says Atiku. PDP LP want to turn our victory to ashes in mouth of Nigerians, says Adamu, APC chairman. Police officer shoots mistress dead in Ilorin and kills himself. PFM backs Sanwo-Olu for second term. Wike instrumental to Tinubu's victory in Rivers, says APC. Okay, which story are we starting with?
I have the human interest story.
Please.
So, police officer identified as Sergeant Olalere Michael, attached to the 15 PMF Ilorin, yesterday, March 2nd, has reportedly shot and killed a yet-to-be-identified lady at the Chapel of Redemption, Agba Dam Housing Estate in Ilorin. the police has confirmed that this incident happened and that the bodies have been recovered. So after he shoots her, he puts the gun to his head and he shot himself and died. The bodies have been recovered by the police, and they said that, first of all, they want people to know that it has nothing to do with police brutality, that is a case of love gone sour, and that they are investigating what, led up to it. But the investigation has started immediately.
So the leaders of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, PFN, Lagos State Chapter, had a meeting, press briefing yesterday, and said that they are in support, in total, for the governor of Lagos State, Sanwo-Olu. They say Christians are supporting him for the March 11th elections. The Apostle Enyinaya Okonu, that's the chairman, and the Pastor Mahmood Akindejoye, secretary, Bishop Dr. Theophilus Ajose, and others at the PFN were saying yesterday that they need to present a common front towards the March 11th elections, saying that the church in Lagos State asked for Christians across the state to vote in Governor Sanwo-Olu, and because he has done well in the last 4 years and he deserves another 4 years.
Okay, so a presidential campaign committee, council of the APC in Rivers State yesterday said that Governor Nyesom Wike was very, very instrumental to the victory of Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the state. And the chairman of the local organizing committee and independent campaign council of the APC in Rivers State, Tony Okocha, said, without the governor's effort, they couldn't have gotten 25% votes to gain the constitutional requirements that was required, and that because of what Governor Wike had done, he took us down history lane to 2015-2019 elections and how APC fed in Rivers State, and said it was only possible to have gotten it different this time because of the governor's standing with them. And he said that because of that, they would support his gubernatorial candidate in the coming gubernatorial elections in Rivers State. So the APC, according to Tony Okocha, will be working with Governor Wike, with the PDP. Okay. It's time to present the governor.
Okay, so some financial analysts are urging the federal government to totally deregulate the petroleum industry and reinvest its subsidy payments to more productive sectors in the economy. Dr. Austin Nweze, a former lecturer of economics at Pan Atlantic University, said that the fund allocated for petroleum subsidy payments could be earmarked for productive sectors that will further support the development of the people. He says so far the money that they have been using for the subsidy has not benefited any Nigerian at all, and so they need to reinvest this money. And he mentioned different industries that this money can help to affect the masses in total. He said agriculture and healthcare sectors, and this money must be earmarked for those two, particularly those two sectors, so that it touches everybody at the end of the day. It's no longer sustainable for Nigeria to keep paying subsidy, and everybody must support the federal government to make this move.
Vanguard, Atiku Obi vowed to challenge polls outcome in court. March 11 elections adhere to Constitution Electoral Act. Senate tells INEC. Buhari apologizes over Naira redesign policy. We are not at war with Yoruba, says Lagos Ohanes Ndigbo. PFM backs Sanwo-Olu for second term. United States congratulates Tinubu, calls for calm. And Chrisland School, Whitney Adeniran, died of asphyxia electrocution, says Lagos State government. Presidential polls seek legal redress, UN tells LP and PDPA. Okay, which story are we starting with?
I have a human interest story here quickly. So an Akwa Ibom State High Court in Uyo has sentenced a 45-year-old civil servant, Uduak Edet, to 14 years in prison for the rape of his daughter, his 14-year-old daughter. So they said this happened in, he's a native of Ikotekwene village in a Biono Ibom local government area of the state, and he was tried on a 2-count charge of rape punishable under section 367 and assault occasioning harm, and all those details. So it said this happened July 2018 and October 2019, and he repeatedly raped his daughter, I think about 5 times on different occasions. And so he's been sentenced to, one of the reasons I'm taking this case is people need to understand that if you're caught, you will be sentenced and you will pay your penance for.
We took one yesterday that raped his daughter again, or stepdaughter.
Okay, so there was a press briefing yesterday by the Yoruba Council worldwide and the Ohanes Ndigbo in Lagos. So they urged non-indigenous to support and re-elect Governor Sanwo-Olu. Also, the Ohanes Ndigbo said that they are not at war with Yorubas in the southeast, especially in Lagos State, but they are solidly in support of the incumbent government as brothers and sisters in progress. Says that considering the information flying around in social media, it is imperative for this joint leadership of the Lagos State, leaders of thought led by the Yoruba Council and the Ndigbo, to have a committed front to say that every dose of Igbo extraction and obedience supporters to support the re-election of Governor Sanwo-Olu for second term. Any other story in Vanguard? Let's move on now to the Nigerian Tribune. February 22nd, poll rape of democracy will be challenged in court, says Atiku. Aftermath of poll, I will challenge this rascality for future of Nigeria, says Obi. Police arrest 16 suspected ritualists with 10 human skulls in Oyo. Christians back Sanwo-Olu for second term. Chrisland Whitney Adeniran died of electrocution, says Lagos State government. Naira redesign policy, Supreme Court to deliver judgment today. And US to INEC address concerns ahead of March 11 polls. Okay, please, who has the Naira redesign in court?
I have it.
Please,
so today, the Supreme Court will sit, and they insisted on hearing all sides, which was done at the last sitting, and they adjourned for judgment today. So today, we'll have a final stand.
Special grace.
Amen. And it will be favorable. Because I skipped the story in the Vanguard where the president, while campaigning for the APC gubernatorial candidate in Kaduna, apologized for the scarcity and censorship.
You didn't say
apologize.
To all Nigerians or just certain people?
To all Nigerians, especially the people of Kaduna, after seeing how woefully they performed, saying that now he's now feeling how it's affecting the common man and that he's splitting with them.
Imagine,
He didn't feel it before.
Now that the votes explain to them that
you don't show.
That's all we can take on the paper review. When we come back, move on to our hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So World Wildlife Day is celebrated annually on the 3rd of March in support of animals and plants across the world. Joining us on the show is the Director General, Nigerian Conservation Foundation, Dr. Joseph Onoja. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Yes, so World Wildlife Day. Why was there a need to have a World Wildlife Day? And what does it do?
All right, so the World Wildlife Day, I think they've been celebrating for the past 10 years now.
Right.
And it's set aside so that the awareness can be created on the importance of wildlife. And what I mean wildlife is wild plants and animals, and the important roles they play for our livelihood eventually, because these form part of the life support system of the human race. So sometimes as humans, we want to think that we are the only ones living here on earth. So it's important to continue to remind us that we are not just the only ones living here on earth, but we are the most vulnerable. Because nature has put all of these things in place to support us. And without these things, we would completely be annihilated.
Yeah.
And that is why it's important for us to observe days like these so that will bring awareness on the importance that wildlife play in our lives.
So how, okay, let me say, what sort of support would you want to see Nigerians give? We're just becoming mostly aware of the fact that we need to preserve our wildlife. And we have some specific areas, maybe like the Lekki Conservation. If you go to different states, you have one conservation or the other. But we still don't hear a lot of people push this. So what sort of support do you think Nigerians will begin to give to support wildlife?
Yeah, so that's one of the things. That's why a day like this is important. And apart from this day, we continue to also preach the message on the importance of these, and then everybody will play their role in supporting wildlife. Let me give you an instance, which I love giving, and that is the vultures. Certainly, that will definitely come to my conversation, and especially the important roles that they play. Their population are not just declining for declining sake. Their populations are being driven by humans. And that is why we continue to create awareness so that people will know their importance. Because if there are no vultures, then our healthcare costs will increase, both as personally and for the government. Because some diseases like botulism, tuberculosis, cholera, that vultures should have dealt with, and then stopping this disease from entering human population are not being stopped because there are no more vultures to take care of the carcasses around. Because what happens, the process of decay usually introduces the bacterium spores that normally, when it comes into the human population, has all of these tendencies to create these diseases. But vultures come in and clean it up before it gets to the human population. But if you take vultures out of the system, then you introduce other opportunistic scavengers like rats and dogs. And these have very close contact with the human population.
Then they spread it.
And they spread it around. And then we start dying, or we start paying huge amounts of money to be able to take care of our costs. So, and that is why it's important, the role that we play as individuals and as a government, so that we'll continue to see that our wildlife continue to be. And that's why a day like this is very important. And that is the role that we must play. And then we'll continue to create that awareness to everybody to be aware of their single role. Because sometimes we think that, oh, I don't have any role to play. But we do have a role to play. Because if you are not an active killer, if I put it that way, of wildlife, you are a passive killer of wildlife. Because if you don't spread the message, then people will not be aware. The active ones will not be aware. So we are all involved in it.
This is my approach to preserving wildlife. I believe that we are not kind as humans. We are not kind to animals generally. So we grew up, and it's normal for kids to stone a chicken. And their mother would say they're just playing. And that lack of kindness, they grew up with it. And so everything that is not human, some people say, now I know keep person. As long as you know keep person, you can kill anything anyhow. So you can actually put a dog in a bag and have fun, or you buy a salaram, and it's fun to have them heading each other till they get brain damaged. And my religion is against that form of treatment of animal in any way. And any animal that is seen to die as a result of such pain is not consumable. But people don't understand that's the rationale on why we slaughter and how we must consume. I think that in trying to do that with my kids and my neighbors' kids now, I see the difference. The lesson is tougher because it's normal play for them. I had to beat my son for doing that to a rabbit. If we can start from there, it will generally be kinder to other animals before we even know the benefits. Can we even just be kind to them?
I agree with you totally, because that's why I said that sometimes we humans, we feel that we are a higher being. Yes, God has given us that responsibility to take care of them. And with that responsibility comes the fact that we need to be kind to them. Because, as you said, in the garden, when God said, take care of, tend the garden. Tend the garden means you won't be cruel to something that you're supposed to take care of. So from that perspective, we need to look at it as well. Even apart from the benefits they have to us, we have to look at them with that kindness, that human kindness.
They have life.
They have life, exactly. These are, even sometimes there's some plants that you think that don't have life. They do, they have life. And we need to recognize it, no matter how small it is. Then the other side of it is that someone will start asking me, mosquitoes, what do they do?
Flies.
The flies.
Wall
what
geckos.
do they do? Wall geckos, exactly, snakes, and so on. But
If you see what wall geckos do, if you explain it, they'll get the benefit.
They all have their rules. For instance, when people talk about owls, let me go to owls, because that's the one that when someone hears, for instance, my favorite of the owl, it's called the eagle owl. And that's the one that when it perches on your roof, you do like that. And then people start casting and calabashing and things like that. That's all out of ignorance. That's all out of ignorance. Because when you know the important role that these owls play, when you don't see rats running around your house, that means there's something that takes care of them. And when you see where owls roost, when you see the amount of the number of bones there, because what they do is that they swallow their prey whole, and then they digest it and bring out the bones. So if you count the bones, you'll be able to see how much biological control that the owls play. So they have their roles. The fact that we do not know,
more of this kind of
the fact that we do not know does not mean that they don't have their role. And so, we need to look at it from that.
So there's another part of world wildlife that we hardly talk about, and people don't understand it, is the plants as well.
Exactly.
We have wildlife. Could you talk to us about plants and their importance?
Yeah, so plants, in fact, the role that plants play, just that because they are kind of stationary, and we don't talk much about them, but they are very, very important. In fact, we cannot exist without the plants. Even the animals can hardly exist without the plants. Now, let me talk about the humans. Plants provide food for us. Plants provide medicine for us. Plants provide shelter for us. Everything that you want to think about, plant provides for us. Now, that's on one hand. And on the other hand, plants make our environment conducive for us. If we don't have plants in some places, you have erosion. And for places that are steep, then you have landslide. When you have major landslide that results in the killing of thousands of human beings, is because those areas have been degraded and they've lost their solidity on the ground because there are no plant roots to be able to hold the soil together. So when it rains so much, there will be, the soil gets soaked, and before you know it, there will be a lot of landslide.
Let's talk about policy within this issue of wildlife, because I always see stories or reports of maybe when a whale washes ashore, you will now break them, cut in pieces to eat. It's time to feast. But in other parts of the world, when these things happen, they take them back into the ocean because that's their proper habitat. Is there a policy guarding these kind of things or preventing human beings from when some kind of a wild animal comes ashore, maybe a whale, for example? Is there any policy that ensures that we can enforce to make sure they take them right back to the ocean?
Okay, so Nigeria will have some level of policy, but it's not being implemented at the level that it should be. And even those policies still need to be reviewed and at least to meet contemporary challenges and so on. Currently, at least just 2-3 weeks ago, it was it passed the first reading, and I mean the Wildlife Protection Act I just passed the first reading and so on. That's a revised version of the Endangered Species Act, which we believe will be able to have more empower the law enforcement agents to be able to do their work more, better. But even with that, it calls also with awareness, because once a whale beaches in the Nigerian coastline, from what we've seen, is just everybody bring out their machetes, and sometimes even with their chainsaw and things like that, to go into the fray and start cutting the meat. Sometimes you don't even know what killed, what made the animal. You don't know what disease it is carrying and so on. But because of some people just attribute it to hunger, poverty, and so on. No, it's not poverty of poverty. It's poverty of the mind. Because once we are aware that, I mean, these things are supposed to be helped back into the ocean, then we will do that. But also, the policy is not as strong as it should be, because there are rules and there are laws that protects these animals, even in Nigeria, that are not being implemented, that should be implemented as much as possible.
Okay, we have to wrap up on this, but I think you've been able to send the message. It's World Wildlife Day, and congratulations to the National Conservation Center. You've done quite a bit of work. The work you do with Mariam. Mariam is now a vulture advocate. Vulture. You see Mariam, now she's getting international recognition, so we're so proud of the work she's doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll continue to support you the best we can.
All right, thank you very much.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll move on to other topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So the Lagos State government has said that the late Whitney Adeniran, the 12-year-old Chrisland school student, died from asphyxia and electrocution. This is contained in a statement from the Office of the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Mr. Moyosore Odigbanjo, SAN, on Thursday in Lagos. The statement also said that the postmortem report was from the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital on Wednesday showed that the disease cause of death revealed asphyxia and electrocution. The DPP has instructed, therefore, to issue a legal advice on the matter with immediate effect. And they said that all those who are culpable will be immediately charged to court. So that is the official statement from the Ministry of Justice. Of course, the mother of this young girl had also come out to the public to also confirm that it was electrocution. And obviously, it's only right for us to open our phone lines this morning to express your thoughts on this. Many mothers, many families are swarmed with questions and concerns. Then different levels. The first level is justice for this young girl who has died. Secondly, is that currently the school has been closed by the Lagos State Government Ministry of Education, has closed down the school. Parents of the other students are also saying, okay, yes, the school has been closed down, but their own children in year 2, year 3, year 4, how do I start finding a new school? What do we do? What's the next steps? Because they are also victims of this entire thing. So yes, one child has died, but they're also saying our child or our children who are in this school are now going to, don't have anywhere to go to, because once school resumes on Monday, the kids will be home as a result of this. So many are still arguing that is it right for the government to still close down the school? That's the conversation I want to have this morning. You can call us on 081-270-53687, 09139076948. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. So ladies, that's the conversation. Yes, now we have an official document from the Ministry of Justice based on the coroner's inquest, and then we now know what killed the young girl. So before the report, the Ministry of Education had already closed down Chrisland. It's not open right now. But many parents are still clamoring for the reopening of Chrisland because they want their children to at least finish school. Yes, if you have taken if you are charging the school, how should that affect my child who's in school? So there are different layers of this conversation. But what are your thoughts first on this report from the Ministry of Justice?
I don't know for those parents who want their kids to finish school, because it could have been anybody's child.
Yeah.
It could have been anybody's child. And if that school can be so negligent that it results in the death of a child, you don't want your child to be there. What guarantees that a tree will not fall in class tomorrow and break through the roof and goes to your child? What guarantees you so much safety in that school that you insist your child must finish school in the hands of those so negligent, who could not see to covering of wires at an inter-house sport? And I must commend the parents of Whitney. In fact, I think people should commend that courage that the father had, because we interviewed them here and they insisted on an autopsy to find out the cause of death, even though they had been pleaded with to accept it as fate and, as destiny, as, time, as God's doing. But the parents said, the father said he thought to himself that he would look stupid if in a few years' time somebody asked him, sorry about your daughter, what happened?
And he cannot say.
And so just to find out what happened led to them taking the bravery, having the bravery to push this cause of an autopsy. And we know autopsies are not easy.
Yeah.
We were here, we interviewed during the when the process of it.
Yes.
To make parents lose their child and then watch the child
dissected,
die again, sort of, just to get an evidence, is something that is courageous. Yes. We must commend them for it. But then the legal process must be followed. Okay, we'll come to that. We know we cannot, no, just a moment. Some people will say, to what end? Can the money bring back life? No. What it does is that it deters.
Yeah.
It forces the schools to maintain the right standards. Yeah. This must happen. Before we can say we're gathering people's children for excursion, we will have these certain things in place before we move.
Let me get the other initial thoughts of the other ladies on this official.
We had interviewed the family before, and I just remember thinking, they seemed quite strong. But I could tell that they were waiting until they were sure, before they would start grieving. And sadly, I watched the current video the mother made, and I could see she was finally grieving her daughter's passing. And I just want to say that it must have taken a lot of courage and strength, to go through that process. When she breaks down the process of, taking out samples, I knew that it had this was a parent now going beyond just taking care of themselves and thinking of the future. It's unfortunate that Chrisland is going through this, that Chrisland is caught up in this, at this period. It's unfortunate because I need to pick my words carefully.
The legacy school.
Yes. So this is a school that has been set up for many years. Yes. Many people have gone through this school. It has had its good days. Yes. And even till today, it has its good teachers, and this incident happened. And whether we like it or not, Chrisland would have to face the consequences. It will have to answer questions. Yes. But I want to also ask, what is the best way to do this in future? So there's one, which is you make sure that safety and health standards are optimal in the school, around the school, in the classes, wherever you do your events. That's one. Secondly, when something like this happens, because we hear this back and forth of, oh, we wanted to do an autopsy, we didn't want to do an autopsy. We asked ahead of time, what exactly do you think killed, caused my daughter's passing? Is it best for the school to just say, this is what it was? Because of the story of, maybe the school was aware, even children were aware of what happened to Whitney, but the school was reluctant to say it until they went through this process. Would the best way be, this is what has happened, and this is what it is, and a parent is able to grieve immediately then and move on? Or does a situation like this always require that we go through that painstaking, heartbreaking process of autopsy? I know that this is just a truly sad situation, and may Whitney's so finally rest.
Find rest, yeah.
This is your thoughts on
this? This is just so painful. Painful because when this happened, there were speculations that the way the tongue was dark, it could have been electrocution. And they said, no, it didn't happen that way. Painful because the people who were within that area at the time it happened saw exactly what happened. But nobody was able to step up and say it as it is. If they had said this was what happened, I don't think these parents would go through these rigors of having an autopsy done. It would have saved a lot of things. Okay, this is what happened. These are the measures we took. And this also is an eye-opener for most schools to always make sure there's something they call, when you have a new child, they will tell you there's a way you have to sort of protect your homes. Your sharp-edged chairs will be covered. You use rocks. You have children who are coming to do inter-house sports. As little as covering up the wires before you put them under the rug. It's just simple mathematics and simple your ability to take out safety measures for the students. Now, parents and children or schools, we know that if anything goes wrong, as long as these children are in our care, we will be held responsible. And it will help them to prepare better. You cannot have a school as big as that, have inter-house sports, there's no ambulance, there's no proper medical care or kit waiting somewhere. Inter-house sports, we know that people faint back and forth when they are running and they are looking for glucose to give. There's no proper measure put in place. And then you put children together.
Another thing, BC, that we always forget is some schools that I know, you have vendors you use, and those are the vendors you continue to use. I remember when we were doing
for 70 years.
We were doing a fun thing in the TVC, many years. We stopped it some years back. But we were so used to using the same vendors. And because the reason why you use the same vendors is because they know you, they know they're talking to children. For example, a DJ knows, okay, this is my client. I play this kind of songs. These are the kind of things. You train the vendors. So year in, year out, every inter-house, they know the rules and regulations. Everybody knows where they stay. And there are no new people where they can carry live wires everywhere. They already know what the safety measures are across schools. So sometimes it's always safer to have the same people who you train and retrain, and they're
trained. Yes, because mistakes can happen.
Yes,
so that's why you have somebody who will monitor. So the thing is, because we are used to these people doing this thing, we assume
they know
that they can handle it, and they know when it comes to children, you must take extra care to monitor and see and check. So you go around, you check. You go back, you check. There should be teachers that day that are not going to have phone to do any form of crime. They're just moving around to be checking. They're taking boxes. It's a lot of work, but we must painstakingly do it the right way.
There was a school that I went to. I'll come to you, Miriam. There was a school I went to, a private school, and I won't mention their name because I'm not giving them publicity here. But what they did, the trick they did, their parents are extremely involved in the inter-house sport. Like, the parents are running. They are part of the house, the colors, they make clothes. So because the parents are so involved, they are also monitoring their children. So I went there for the inter-house. I was there in the inter-house, and I saw the yellow house, red house. The parents were there dressed. They marched. They did their own dancing, and they were involved. They brought food. In fact, they did the whole nice place, their picture place for their kids.
And they will not be separated from the children.
Because they are there, they are also, so the teachers can't do everything. Teachers can all do a bit of monitoring, but the parents are also doing double monitoring also. So everybody's paying attention.
But you're right, but that's what I thought all schools do. I mean, all this. My school, when I was growing up, my children's school. I mean, you have to do it. Parents, teachers, whatever. And usually events like this, parents are involved, this outsourcing of vendors can cause issues like that. And also, it's a plus to say that you use the same vendors over and over again. But what happens is that familiarity also brings complacency.
Yes.
You know, we know
monitor.
them; they know what's expected. Even when they don't do the right, they know also the loopholes that are there. That's for vendors coming in and what to do to, you know, sort of avoid being called out. And so. This behavior is not a Chrisland behavior. This behavior is a Nigerian behavior.
Yeah.
This, I've told you people that have been electrocuted at an event before. Maybe because I'm an adult, much older, it did not affect me that way. But I also remember there was an event that I was putting together, and the lady that I was talking about some things I wanted her to bring, and she was like, no, I can't touch that. I don't want to be involved in that. No, another vendor was bringing something electrical. And she said, please, I would sign an undertaking saying I had nothing to do with that. And that was the first time I've seen a Nigerian put herself, you know, she says for her health and safety standards are so important. And if they're bringing this electrical thing, it has to be signed that she did not bring it and has nothing to do with that. And she has seen so many situations like that at Nigerian events where we don't pay attention to things like that and accidents have happened. And this is a call to all Nigerians. We need to do things better. We need to pay attention to details. We don't do that even in our homes. I was just going through, you know, the house, and I was wondering, my first aid box is almost empty. Me, a parent that talks about, and I have small children in my house. You know, you at your workplace, how many of us even understand what we need to do when an accident happened? We heard that child was doused with water after being electrocuted. Those are the things. Who was there to assist? Where was the ambulance right there? Who were the doctors and the nurses? And even those ones that are there, do they know exactly what to do when an electrocution happens or any other form of accident happens?
Let's go on a break. Continue the conversation after the break. Stay with us. Right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we will be opening our phone lines so you can call in on the numbers on your screen. It's important to note that the Commissioner for Education, Mrs. Folashade Adepisayo, has been to the family of witness parents, gone to see them, I think it was yesterday, and she's spoken to them and she's confirmed the receipt of the post-mortem report on the cause of Whitney's death and restated commitment of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu that nothing will be spared at ensuring appropriate interrogation of the cause and prosecution of anyone found culpable. She assured the parents that the Ministry of Education shares in their grief and will be with the family throughout the journey for justice. So she has been to the house, she's gone to commiserate with the family, and that was actually this morning. I thought it was yesterday, but it was actually this morning. She was there this morning because obviously everybody was waiting for this report to be sure exactly the cause of death. And it's always important to go through the... That's why I say democracy can be very painstaking, but it's important for us to wait for it. Yeah. So the emotions of, oh, they killed her, oh, this happened, that's not what democracy is. Okay, the girl died. Let us find the cause of death, the official cause of death. And now that we have it, now let the legal, let the courts
legal consequence follow.
Take the next steps.
Because it is a school and institution, one of the things will not be shutting down perpetually.
Yes.
So they shut down till they follow the proper standards. Whoever it is that is a regulatory body to ensure that proper safety standards, and I mean that I don't mean the Ministry of Education when I talk about safety standards at events. Anybody working, not working with the ministry, which ministry covers the fire service within the state. Because only they know what can cause a fire, including electricity.
Right.
And they must be at an event. Can we stop having our event 2 days to the event they're just setting up? Because you are planning your event, you know when your annual inter-house sports comes up. Can your vendors that you already work with know that they should set up 2 weeks before the event? I'm not joking. They don't have because you know why I say it depends on the standard of the event you're planning. No, it's realistic. Yeah. Just a minute.
Yeah. Money.
You want to take your call, you can take it. I waited to make this point. I'm coming. No, I want to make this point clearly. I know why I'm making it. You can take your call so we can come back.
No, I want you to finish. It's important you finish.
2 weeks, and I'm not joking. Why I say 2 weeks is that if you are changing anything in between, somebody would be able to see what you have set up originally, approve of it, 2 weeks is not too much. It's not unrealistic. And that's the standard when you have kids who will be running around. Reason is because some wires you will put sand over, you will put rug over. Somebody will be able to maintain that. Even setting up the wires, no matter the length of the stadium, is not something that you can do in 2 days. So that you are not cutting corners and doing it shortcut. Okay, the wire no long reach. So it has to be more than even 2 weeks.
Okay. But the business part of it is that you can't tie your money or resources down for one client. Realistically, now in real life, it would be nice to have the 2 weeks. You now tie your resources down in one client.
You will pay for that 2 weeks. So if I'm renting canopies to you and the electrician is going to listen now, hold on. See, this will only be ideal. This will only be ideal if the school has its own resources. They have their canopies, they have everything belongs to the school.
To do
so
a
they
vendor
can set up,
at an event is not do or die.
Wait now, let me just like this so you answer me. Then they can set up, it's their environment. They are not incurring extra costs for it. They can now set up and follow through on all this. But the point is, even if you set up in 2 days, if people are constantly monitoring, some things will still be avoided.
Any accidents can happen.
Tessie, and I'll come back to you. Tessie, good morning. Are you there? From Abuja. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Sorry, Tessie. Accidents can happen, but to be a vendor at an event is not do or die. There must be an advantage that is coming to you that make you say you want to come there. If I were Chrisland after this experience, and I tell you, 2 weeks come and set up so that I can be sure that you will not bad body, you will not go, your head will not go and twist. Somebody will kick your wire open and kill a child that's under my care, that I owe that duty of care. And you insist that no, it's because money. You don't have to show. Be a vendor.
Even 2 weeks.
Carry your vendor work and you're saving your money and your shortcut method to another school.
Okay, I get what you're coming from, but I don't think it's realistic. And also,
it is very realistic when the consequences.
It also allows that 2 weeks allows for all sorts of things to happen in between. And then we set up was working. We did not know that on Wednesday of this particular day something happened. But that's not for me. I think what's even more important is stop taking more than you can handle. If you can't handle the whole school being at a particular space in your school, then do it per class. Do it per, level. Is it high school will do it today, or the upper primary will do it today, lower primary will do it tomorrow? Stop going and renting big fields where you cannot keep an eye on everybody and everything. And this, there's this thing about, and I will accuse Lagos schools, there's this thing about wanting to show we are bigger than the other, we are better than the other, and it is in this unimportant things. What parents want is the proper schooling, the education, the books, the values. It's not about showing us the biggest field that you use and how everybody was at this big field. Small events is best, especially with children.
Just like I said, there was a school, I'm not going to mention their name, that same school that invited me for their inter-house sports. They too had it 2 times, a week before and the week after. So they did first for the upper primary and then the secondary school. They did, so because they didn't know that they don't want that crowd. They don't want to control the crowd. So these are ideas. But again, let me jump in.
So I wanted to add this one. Can you at least have an inter-house sport the way they used to have it when we were children?
I wanted to say that.
Freeze your drinks with ice inside cooler now.
Thousands of children.
Make your frost, whatever, this sugar, whatever.
Nima,
candies, at the edge of your electricity socket. Don't draw wires across the field.
Lagos. You want to show Lagos schools.
Hang in there.
I'm there.
You're live.
Good morning, Morayo.
Good morning, please. Go ahead.
I
need some volume.
Chrisland School. Hello, are you there?
Yes, Abosede, go ahead.
All right. I want to say that time the vendor, they should have assigned somebody. I'm a school owner, I run a school, even though it's a smaller school, not as big as Chrisland. But I want to say that they would have assigned people or teachers to monitor the vendors, ensure that everything they are using are properly done. I run a generator in the school 24/7 because we don't have lights. And every morning before the gen is on, but we have to put the wire on top of a tree, not on the floor. Because of the children running around. We have to put the wire on top of the tree. They should have assigned somebody to monitor all the vendors. Like somebody was saying that 2 weeks might be too much. But at least a day or two to the program, all the vendors they are using, they would have assigned teachers to monitor everything they are going to be using, every instrument they are going to be inspecting, and ensure that all of this thing is taken care of. I have known Chrisland all my life, but as a young lady, I worked with a boss that your daughter was in Chrisland. This been there and in a good school.
Yeah.
But I'm so surprised that they would allow this, to go wrong. That means somebody did not do the right thing. There should be a paramedic. There should be a doctor. There should be a nurse on ground. They should know. I watched the mother of the child yesterday, and I saw the pain. I cannot imagine it. It's so painful.
Thank you very much, Abosede. You're very correct. Chrisland is a good school. It's a legacy school that have gone from generation to generation. They've had amazing results. Just that these mistakes happen can be preventable. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we continue our conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So very soon we'll be joined by Whitney's father, who will be joining us to just talk about what happened and his response to the reports, and to confirm indeed that the Ministry of Education did see them this morning. I think we're trying to see if we can get him on Zoom in a moment. But in the meantime, we'd like to take some comments on social media and some calls.
Okay. So my tweets are not dropping yet, but I wanted to add this.
Yes.
I've said 2 weeks and I didn't say it out of the blue. I went to school. In my secondary school, Command Day Secondary School, Ojo, we planned our inter-house sports weeks before it happened, not just 2 weeks. Students also, if anybody went to Command Day Secondary School, Ojo, between 1991 to 1999, come and call into the show. Students were also made to build the palm frond sheds for houses. I was in Octopus House. We will build our tent where the students will stay. They will monitor the setup of how it will be. We had soldiers and civilian teachers in those sheds per house while we were preparing, and on the inter-house sport day. All the vendors were in a particular queue in secondary school.
So no accidents ever happened in Command?
It didn't happen till I graduated. It didn't happen. You can have a child on the field fainting from running and running out of breath. That's regular, they'll give glucose. But nothing of this kind happened because somebody would have monitored. And the vendors, when they were trooping in the morning, they would still search through their bags. Okay. Before you come in through the barracks and even into school, the search was tedious. I used to hate it. But now, sitting here, I appreciate it. As a parent, I would appreciate it if something was done.
Some would also argue that they didn't have 2 weeks, they had a few days, but that also never happened in the entire 6 years too. So it's either
But then the hastiness of the school.
Yeah.
Number one is that a child falls. You did not check pulse, nothing. You pour water.
That water thing has
You pour water. The school, the teachers, the people who had their accounts. Yeah. The mother was in the field and she didn't even know something had happened to her child. You didn't see the up and down, up and down, up and down. Nobody was rushing anywhere. She falls, nobody's there to quickly respond. And then the school comes out quickly to say, hey, she had even had one health issue, trying to put it on a weak heart or a weak health. Yeah. And they were too hasty.
Let me take this call from Bola. Good morning, Bola. Are you there?
Good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
What I'm about to say should not be taken in any way whatsoever. That victim shaming or joining the other idiots online who are making it sound as if you are rich and you take your child to a good school, you have committed a crime. I'm not saying that at all. Having said that,
Go ahead, Bola. Hello. Oh, we have to hear Bola. Hello.
So I think there are several lessons we can learn from this. And when these things happen, it's just painful that I had to take a dead child for people to be picking lessons. Nobody prays for that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, we must still learn something. Is it possible that we go back to how things were done if it's going to work for us? Right, Nima mentioned when she was in secondary school how inter-house sports was done. We didn't have need for any electricity, so to speak, or so much electricity hanging around. The parents who cook homemade food and bring, we're all talking about eating healthy here. Can we start reinforcing that? Bring homemade food. They will chill their drinks and bring, there's glucose on the table for any child who is fainting and all of that. And the emphasis is on inter-house sports, is on sports. It's more about physical activities, exerting physical, the dancing, the march pass, the running. Those are physical things that we don't need so much of electricity to really do. It's an opportunity for children to exert their energy in play. And that's what we should focus on. Then secondly, when things happen like this, can we calm down before we respond? Because this cuts across every agency. Something will happen, the police will quickly respond before taking their time, the army will respond, the medical sector will respond. Everybody does the same thing. It's a defense. You are just defending without even taking time to, okay, can we investigate properly what happened to this? And can we try as much as possible to also say the truth of how the events unfold so that we don't take people round in circles and then come back to exactly the first things that people speculated happened. Because that's exactly what this matter just showed. People speculated this happened, but then we jumped into defense and then we had gone round.
I don't know if we got a proper, I don't think, I'm not sure we got an official statement from the school defending it. Yeah, we didn't get, it was, a lot of talk that we had heard from different quarters. But the official statement that was sent to school, I remember when we had asked the parents to come here and they said that they didn't want to do a back and forth. They were deeply sorry about what happened, but they're waiting on the results of the autopsy before they would say something. I think it's important to be careful.
Please, let me quickly explain this before it is said that I said the school defended. In their explanation, they went to pick up health issues the child had as probably one of the causes that is a form of defense. Can you just wait and give us after everything is done? That's what I'm trying to say.
Let me take this call and hold it. I think Bola was called back. Good morning, Bola. You back?
Yes.
Please, go ahead.
As I was saying, this school, this particular school, something happened years ago where a child was molested. A baby was defiled.
Yes.
A baby was defiled.
Yes.
The school, as usual, tried to cover up. Later, they gave up the culprit. How many people's licenses have been revoked to date? What has been done other than chase that single individual? What about the people who rallied behind him at first, before they realized they couldn't cover up? The mother cried out to the point that she had to relocate so that today she is outside the country because of the amount of threats and whatever she got. After that, the one that just happened barely a year ago, parents are in that school watching these things, and our Nigerian mentality, it happened to me. They keep their children in these schools. I cannot understand. I really cannot understand that. The first one happened. People went online to insult the mother of the girl, of the baby girl that was caught in whatever she was caught in. Now this one has happened. This woman came out to cry because people started to insult her that who knows whether you people are not faking? Who knows whether you people are not doing this and that? That was why she eventually came out. And then before this thing caught momentum. And now that it has been found out that she's electrocuted, who is going to keep the momentum going to make sure that somebody's license is revoked? Somebody is obviously unable to have children in large numbers in their care. Somebody is obviously unable to do that. But of course, we'll wait for the next one. And those ones. Okay, those ones too, they're waiting for the next child to die before we start talking about it.
God forbid.
Thank you very much, brother. So it's important that we always use this show to educate people. And what in this kind of situation, what happened based on what we've discussed so far is that the mother came online to make allegations that my daughter has died, this happened. Government said, we're going to wait for the autopsy to know exactly, to confirm the cause of death, to be sure. School said, yes, we'll also wait. However, we have records, and you said that we're hasty to tell us, oh, this girl was sick before they come and blame us. But however, we're also waiting for investigation. So the right thing to do was not to make any official statement. It's just to wait. Now, we cannot depend on people's outcry within this stadium. Oh, it was this, it was that. We can't do that. Because if we do that, you could be right to be wrong. But in this case, it was right. But sometimes it could have been wrong. Yeah. So we waited for the official response, for the official autopsy, which we now have. With this, what are the next steps? And I'm told that we'll be having our guests very soon, because the ordinary thing, the most civil thing to do right now is to go to court.
Yeah. Yes.
And that could, if you go to court, that can affect the school as a whole. That's a body. So that's another part of this conversation we're yet to talk about, because I know Niman touched on it a bit. There are other pupils in this school whose life has been in this school for years. And the parents are thinking, so what do I do? Where do I find a new school? If you shut us down, if the school is persecuted, are they going to shut down the entire school? Can the school continue to go on? Or can they hand over the management of the school to somebody else? What can be done so that children don't suffer, become extra more victims of this situation?
There are several alternatives. So number one, the state can come in and take over the management of the school for now, till they put things in place. But that school cannot run as business as usual after this.
Yeah.
So there could be criminal consequence for the bodies, people behind the veil of the corporate body of that school. And there could be civil consequences for the institution of the school itself, which can, amount to monetary damages paid to the parents. But negligence is civil, largely. And the consequence of it is something that would help establish how things will go forward, whether it concerns Chrisland or any other school, one Jelly Simi school somewhere. And the school, we must be willing to follow that process to the end. We must insist on it. Imagine that the students of this school now, they've all heard this. And the consequence of it is that our school was shut down for a certain period of time, limited period, of course, while the government was setting up a system that would take over till they graduate or, see them to exams or whatever that we like to pursue, that WAEC is coming. So what do you want our children to do? Let somebody else take over that school. But the consequence, let the children themselves also experience it. What we are building are future leaders who, when they grow up too, we know that for any negligence or laxity, there will be consequence. Instead of us saying no, because we don't want them to waste time, and we're teaching them that there are no consequences, all of them will just graduate like that.
You're very correct. Let me take this call from Tayo from Lekki very quickly. Tayo, are you there? Hello, Tayo.
Yeah, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, my name is Father. Actually, I've been following up with his story, and there are several questions that he used to raise. For example, the school we are talking about is not a local public school in my village. We are talking about a school with international brand. Now, it's expected of them that they should have standards. There are things that other schools can imitate and follow up. If stories that we read and we heard are true, imagine for that kind of school, there was no ambulance for that kind of event with that kind of fees that they pay. No medical fee on ground for issues that will come up. Of course, issues can come up. No medical fee on ground. Now, this thing happened. If stories we heard were true, the hospital they took the child to is as good as another corner, one corner of hospital. That doesn't meet the standard of the school we are talking about. So, putting all this together, the school has failed to live up to responsibility of the kind of brand that we do them for this kind of event. I want to say that probably for a lesson for all other schools and every other person, sanctions should apply in this case.
Right.
Because it's not happening to bigger.
Thank you so much, Mr. Salas. Sorry, Mr. We had to. Yeah, I'm told that we have witness father now on the call, so thank you, Mr. Taya, for calling in, but I have to take in Mr. Michael Adeniran's call. Good morning, sir. Are you there? I'm told you're joining us on Zoom. Hello, Mr. Michael. Yes, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We'd like to commiserate with you and your entire family.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us again. So we're told that the Commissioner for Education was in your house today. Could you confirm that, please?
Yeah, she was in my house yesterday evening around 5 p.m. Around 5 p.m. yesterday evening.
Right. So could you tell us what are the next steps now that we have this report? What are the next steps your family plans to take?
Okay. We are going to go legal with Chrisland School. We are going to go legal with them. And I've informed my lawyer already. We are going to be meeting with the coroner on Monday at Magistrate Court in Oba here in Lagos on Monday. And after that, we are going to proceed to the court because I'm going to sue Chrisland School for negligence. Because if they have done what is needed to be done based on the standard that they presented for us before we put our child under their care, I believe my child have a chance and she never would have died. So, and again, I'm shocked right now because now we have the result. It's not that Chrisland does not know what happened to this child, but they were pushing a totally different narrative in their press release, saying this child was sickly. Now, I want to know exactly what their defendant, their lawyer, now that the autopsy report has proven that this girl was actually electrocuted at that event, contrary to the fact that they were saying my child is sickly. Because at a point, they put this narrative so much, and they want to make me go crazy as if I don't know what I'm doing, or perhaps I'm lying, I know the condition of my child, and I'm lying that something else happened to her and all that. But now that the autopsy have proven the entire thing to be true, I want to know how they want to go about this in court.
Okay, and so let me get a more questions for you.
Make them accept responsibility.
Okay, sir. Would you have?
Going to make them accept responsibility.
Would you have reacted differently if you heard the whole truth from the beginning from the school?
Here's the thing. If they've told me the truth, number one, I would not have bothered myself going for an autopsy. I would have buried my child immediately. And I told the principal, I said, if you tell me the truth, I will proceed with burying this child. Then any other thing can come up later. So, but since they refuse to tell me the truth, and I have to go to the extent of going to do an autopsy, and you know what, maybe some of us, we need to Google the process of autopsy. If they do an autopsy for someone, and that is what they make me subject my daughter into, even after she has died. And it's so painful that I have to go through that pain again. And when they actually know this truth deep down in their heart, even when the fellow students are saying, our school knows the truth, why are they lying to the parent? They should tell the parent the truth. The principal keep insisting that they know nothing about it. So if they have told me the truth from the beginning, maybe I would not have even come to social media. Maybe I would not have even come to the media at all. So, but since they did not do that, I think it's what brought us to this point.
Nima. Okay. I mean, this is quite painful, and I'm happy that you're taking the next steps as you should.
Yes.
Do you think the government of Lagos State in any way have been helpful to get justice for you? How supportive have the government been so far?
Yeah, they've been very, very supportive, to be honest, because the commissioner, the moment this thing happened, I think 3 days or 4 days after, the Commissioner for Education sent a team down who came to listen to us and hear from our own side. Likewise, the way they've gone to Chrisland to hear from their side, and they've been following up. The Commissioner has also been following up till yesterday, and until she came finally herself. And they've assured us that we are going to get justice for Whitney, that they will do everything within their power, that this is not going to be swept under the carpet, that they're going to do everything within their power to ensure that anyone who is culpable is brought to justice. So we are just waiting for that on Monday, like I said. Now that they have also stepped in, so let's see what happens after that. But they've been involved all the way, and we want to thank Governor Sanwo-Olu for his consistency and his support so far.
What of the police command? What have they done to, in this situation? The police?
Yeah, I have a chat with the Deputy Commissioner of Police yesterday, and he told me that they've just received the autopsy report in their own end yesterday.
Okay.
And they will proceed with their investigation. That they're going to proceed with their investigation and all that. So I'm also waiting to hear from him today or tomorrow.
Well done, sir.
Has Chrisland reached out to you so far?
After this?
Okay, it was surprising they came to my house day before yesterday, unannounced. I was not called, I was not informed. My security just came and said that Chrisland School is outside, the principal, she want to see me. And just for the benefit of doubt, maybe they have come to tell me anything reasonable, I decided to see her. So, and we met, and the only thing she told me was that she came to me because she wants our relationship to be cordial, so that if they see me outside and they greet me, I will answer them, and if I greet them, they will also answer me. So, despite the fact that they've seen everything that happened, so I asked the question, what do you think happened? That you have seen that has happened. Yes. The child is dead, so what killed the child? So now that you know what happened, so can you now accept what killed the child? Then she kept mute and started looking at me. I said, well, madam, if you are not going to say anything, maybe you need to go and get your report from your private pathologist and know exactly what happened and come back and discuss what happened with me. So maybe after that we can talk about relationships. So, I know. And since she was short of word and she doesn't have anything to say, right, I just have to leave the conversation for you.
Okay.
And,
I know this is a grieving period in your house right now with your wife. I saw pictures from the gravesite. How is she holding on? Has there been any kind of support from, NGOs or bodies who have this, who provide this psychosocial support for, people going through what she's going through?
Well, we've been having family and friends around who are really supporting us in many ways. Right now, we've not gone for any form of therapy, but spiritually, we have been getting help from our brothers and sisters who have rallied around us and supported us, and they are still supporting us actually. So we have been enjoying that, and we have been getting comfort from a lot of people. Even those who don't know us have been supporting. So we want to thank everybody, actually. So, but we definitely will seek a therapy, right, because this pain is something that's not explainable.
How are the younger ones doing?
I don't wish my
other kids.
Well, it's not been easy for them, really. It's not been easy for them. My son has been weeping since yesterday up to this morning. Aww. That's the immediate younger brother. He's been weeping seriously, yes. It's not really been easy for them, but God is helping us.
Amen. Were they also in the same school as Whitney?
Not yet. In fact, the boy was meant to write a common entrance Saturday. The incident happened into Chrisland. But now that we cannot do that anymore.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Adeniran, for joining us this morning. I mean, this is a difficult conversation to have, especially when you had to go through it and wait for the autopsy result to get this information. Thank you so much for joining us. And once again, we commiserate with your family and hope that God will give you the fortitude to bear this loss. All right, so we've heard from the father, and they're definitely going to court. Now, it's just, I was hearing him talk, and what struck me, all he wanted was the truth.
Yeah.
If I'd gotten the truth in the beginning, I'd have just gone and buried my daughter.
Yeah.
And there goes to us as a people.
Yeah.
It's not just a Christian thing. It's us constantly trying to defend ourselves, trying to see what we can do to cover the truth.
Pass the buck.
No, pass the buck. It's not us. It's not us. Don't blame me. It happens everywhere. In ministries, in companies, in facilities, in an event. It's not me, it's them.
You know how we hear as children when they will tell us honesty is the best policy. And as you're growing older and you see the consequences, or let me say repercussions of honesty, you feel I have to learn to be smart. But in the end, when you see situations like that, and many other situations of this magnitude, is that honesty is still the best policy. Because the narrative would be much different if it was the school, told me from the very beginning that this is exactly what happened. and then we'll be talking about negligence. Yes. We may even be calling the vendor out now. Now, nobody's calling the vendor, we're calling the school because the school subsumed all responsibility. But to say, okay, this is a vendor who doesn't shop. Oh, sorry. You have a call?
No, I have Yakub.
Okay.
He's been holding for a while. Go ahead. Yakub, are you there from Dakwemu? Sorry to cut you off.
Morning.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Yakub.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning. First and foremost, my condolences and sympathy to Mr. Adeniran family. May God Almighty allow them to bear this loss, great loss they acquired. So, Mariah, but the first and foremost, this is a Chrisland school, if I don't make a mistake. One of the big schools, especially in Lagos. And then this very particular school, I'm very sure they will be taught the children in the school not to lie, to be saying the truth at any time. So now, it is the other way around to them now. In the first place, why is it difficult for them to tell the parents the truth of the matter? Imagine what Mr. Adeniran said. In fact, that man is a very, very intelligent man. I give him kudos. Look at the question that he put to the woman that came to his house. Uninvolved. Imagine, uninvolved. If you came to my house uninvolved, and then all what you are saying is that our friendship should continue when I met you, what kind of rubbish is that? In the first place, you did not tell me the truth. And then all what you came to my house to do is to make sure that our friends continue. If I meet you outside, this is bad. So you should continue. This statement goes to police as well. They should do this way. They should fast track the investigation they want to do, and then start to keep pushing so that you can get the justice. Good morning.
Thank you very much.
My sister.
Nima, you're going to say something?
Yes. Femi Williams tweeted, schools employ all subject teachers except health service, health, safety and environment as HSC teachers. HSC officers is needed in all schools now, and that handles all safety-related issues. And he says the phone line is off. Yes, I know that, schools grow with population over time, so stages of approval are approvals are in stages, from time to time before they can even qualify for exams. But the school that has a certain number of students, maybe that has over 100 of students in population of its school, must have certain health safety things that, they must do. We had a new complex open in my kids' school, and one of the things some parents I noticed first was that they had extinguishers. I was like, do the kids know how to operate them? Even I have forgotten the lessons I learned growing up on how to operate an extinguisher. And you will have schools doing inter-house sport. They'll do cultural health, whatever day, cultural day, dancing days. They even some do Halloween. They do summer, but nobody does a health day.
When we used to
basic things like this
let's go back to this Chrisland thing, because Chrisland doesn't have a field. They use the Agege Stadium. Now, why are we not also calling Agege Stadium operators to this? Because they also own the venue. They might have, I'm not saying that we don't know if they're the ones that provided the electricians or the electricity or the vendors, but somebody also must say, how come a child got electrocuted in your own facility?
Well, but that was where I was going when I was saying that because of the lack of honesty, we now have faced Chrisland alone. If they had been honest up front, now you can talk to the different people who were involved. This has happened, and we hear what he may be saying to us is that Chrisland is talking to the vendors. I don't want to hear anything, but they are handling the vendors. So the stadium is supposed to be given out to you. You know how the stadiums are really, there's no electrical anything there, most of them, but I don't know for this particular one if this had to do with the stadium itself. But this is where we need to also talk to the vendors. And over the Christmas holiday, we had a very big children's event. People were there. And I remember parents putting on this, our usual parents group, saying that some children had to leave an event. It was even all over social media because there were naked wires everywhere. We have careless vendors in Nigeria. But you know why it makes this one even more sad is it doesn't matter. Because if you had a teacher or someone who is supposed to be in charge to make sure that that place is safe throughout the event. Another thing that makes it sad is that if something happened, a child is electrocuted, there was no one that thought or could point to the nurse. Can we run to the nurse? Can we run to the doctor? Or can we run to the health space that they had put. Some people will put a cabana or something where you rush people that are ill. They didn't have that. Those are the things. We talked about mistakes happen, accidents happen, but there are some that are just accidents waiting to happen, which is you have not put the right measures in place that when accidents happen, how do you quickly, address it before it becomes worse? And that's what has
preventive
happened.
measures. So the thing is, the courts will open up the whole thing, and they will question even the managers of the stadium, all the parties. So if you give out your environment to be used for an event, you must have somebody to check on them. I rented out a place for the whole of January to do my movie shoot. We had a house manager who was coming constantly to check on the appliances, to check on things. We need to learn the habit of checking on things. You don't delegate and I've rented it out, they paid me, and you move away. You must check on things. Probably they may have spotted that you vendors, you cannot leave your wires hanging like this, so you have to cover it up. We must put those checks and balances. Unfortunately, now the matter will have to go to court, and then they will now start pointing fingers, and witnesses will be coming up to handle all of this.
This all could have been avoided. Back to Chrisland, because Tower Sports is still a business. Somebody made money from renting out the stores for the vendors.
I mean,
we don't know. I don't know. No, I'm just saying.
Usually, okay. So let me tell you.
How do you see events happening?
So when inter-house sports happen, usually, parents who actually work in banks or who actually have businesses, they can actually come and bring their businesses there to sell stuff. Yeah, it's a community.
Fee, more.
But the fee now, okay, so are they not cleaners going to be cleaning the
exactly, you're paying.
I agree with you. It's not the fee that you're going to use to go and pay your teacher's salary. It's just running costs. So
but you accept a fee, so you now go and lax.
After collecting the fee.
And say it's the person's fault for why you're lying down.
We have to run. That's all we can
take.
You
collect fee.
I hope it not.
That's all we can take on today's show. But the truth is, we're happy that justice, at least so far, we see that we've seen categorically from the Ministry of Justice and Lagos State that the cause of death of this child, the next steps now is really important because somebody must take responsibility and we must see the process through.
Yeah.
And that's a democracy. That's all we can take on today's show. I'll see you on Monday. Have a fabulous weekend. Take care.